Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday evening, a little bit late here, just after 9 o'clock. Wanted to get on and look at kind of the latest model data for not only tomorrow, Wednesday, but also maybe into Thursday as well. Certainly could have the chance of severe weather setting up across maybe kind of western Oklahoma into Kansas, up into Nebraska and Iowa for tomorrow, Wednesday. And then as the front pushes down further south and southeast, looks likely that the threat area for Thursday will shift probably southeast Oklahoma, Arkansas, and then into kind of north and north central Texas as well. So, want to look a little bit at the breakdown. Maybe not a super long video, but look at some of the environment and maybe some of the factors that are at play. So, what we can see here, this is about 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Here across much of Kansas and Oklahoma, up into Nebraska and Iowa. This is our map of dew points here. One of the things that I've been noticing kind of looking at this is that you can see these light blue colors here. These are our 60-degree and above dew points. And we can see that while they're present, they're not overly impressive here across much of Oklahoma and Kansas, especially this dry line that's setting up here, kind of this purple line here. We can see that it's really dry on the western side, teens to 20-degree dew points. Then it's about 50, low 50s, upper 40s degree dew points here along the dry line. And then it kind of gradually mixes out before you get to those 60s. A lot of times when you see a big severe weather outbreak, you see these, teens, 20-degree dew points here and high 50s, if not 60-degree dew points pretty close to that dry line. So this is what we call kind of a diffuse dry line. It kind of mixes out some of that dry air up above that's kind of forming that cap. It kind of mixes down to the surface. It gets rid of some of that higher quality moisture, and it can certainly impact the ability to break the cap and to get storms that can last in an environment like this. So this is a little bit concerning if you're looking for severe storms. Again, what we see is kind of a triple point that's going to be setting up this low pressure system kind of right here in kind of central to a little bit western Kansas here. And then we've got kind of a warm front that's going to be draped up this direction. We've got our dry line down here, and then kind of this cold front at play back here. And so typically this triple point right here where you have warm front, cold front, and then the dry line setting up, this would be your area where you would expect the chance for severe storms would be kind of right in here really. And I think that just what we're seeing, I'm not sure that the environment is going to be support. Probably a couple storms, but doesn't look like we're going to see any type of a major outbreak or anything. When we move to about 7 p.m. here, we can see again just not a super tight dry line feature here. And then when we go and look at the actual kind of simulated reflectivity and the radar, we can see that really there's storms up here in Iowa and Nebraska. And some of these certainly could be stronger and severe as well. A couple storms that it's showing up here in Kansas, but again, across much of that area where we'd expect to see severe weather, at least right now, we're barely seeing a little bit of a blip here. So I think we're going to struggle with that cap that's going to be pretty strong across much of this area. And I think that it's possible that that dry line may just not sharpen up enough, and we could see a lack of storms materialize. Now, some models have hinted kind of throughout today that there could be a couple renegades maybe across western Oklahoma, even down towards the Red River area. So we'll have to watch for that as we move forward into tomorrow. Another thing that is worth kind of paying attention to and watching is when we look at our instability that's setting up here. This is another thing that we've kind of looked at here in the past. And again, if we go back and we say, all right, let's go to 4 p.m., we start to go to 4, 5 p.m. We do see some of these brighter colors here, kind of just east of the dry line. Some semblance of maybe that cap weakening, but really only up here in that Nebraska, Iowa area do we really see the cap completely erode and we get those storms. So I think we may have an issue where, again, a couple storms may break the cap, but it's going to be pretty isolated here across Oklahoma and Kansas, and definitely makes me reevaluate whether it's worth a 5, 6 hour drive for a chase. So definitely not a super good consensus looking at models here or anything that really jumps out as a a sure thing or anything like that. Other thing that I did want to look at was kind of take a look at not just tomorrow, but then go into Thursday as well and give us a look a little bit further south and east. So again, if we move forward in time a little bit and we go to, let's go to around, let's see, this would give us about 4 p.m. on Thursday. We can see that this cold front is going to be draped kind of across this area right here and kind of pushing off to the southeast. And so along this cold front, we're definitely going to have enough moisture at play. Again, we can see that down here we've got 70-degree dew points across much of central Texas, eastern Texas as well. Pretty good mid 60s dew points all the way up into the Dallas Fort Worth and southeast Oklahoma area up into Arkansas. So we're definitely not going to have an issue with moisture here. There's really not going to be any presence of a cap here on the atmosphere at all. Again, we can see these bright colors. Really, this whole area is relatively uncapped. So we're going to see a prevalent amount of storms. And when we go and we look at that simulated radar, we can see a lot of storms across the cold front and then even kind of out ahead of the cold front in some of those higher dew points across East Texas and kind of that central I-35 corridor of Texas as well. So when we kind of back this up a little bit, again, we can kind of see storms as we start off our kind of Thursday morning. They're kind of along the cold front, and they really start to fire up around the kind of early to middle afternoon, really across Dallas, Fort Worth, southeast Oklahoma, western Arkansas, and then again, central Texas and eastern Texas as well. And as they kind of move further off a little bit to the south and east. So these storms, I don't think any type of major severe weather outbreak or tornado outbreak could possibly see a couple tornadoes. Too early to rule that out. It definitely looks like it could be some beneficial rain, and I think these storms would be capable of some hail and certainly some damaging winds as well. So again, still 2 days out with these storms, so a little bit hard to know exactly what the environment may look like. But I think North Texas and certainly Dallas Fort Worth area may have a good opportunity to see some rainfall and storms kind of Thursday from probably noon onward into the evening. And then by probably about sunset, storms will have pushed off to the south and the east by then. So definitely a little bit of a complex forecast kind of setting up here. Again, looks like a pretty conditional threat tomorrow, although any storms that do form across Oklahoma or Kansas, Nebraska area tomorrow certainly would have the potential to have an all hazards severe threat. So if you're in those areas, stay tuned to updates and watches and warnings from the National Weather Service. But again, certainly a little bit of a complex forecast setting up here, but does look like at least by Thursday, going to have significant amount of storms, but again, probably not any type of severe weather outbreak. So hope this video was helpful as always, and I'll see you back here for the next one.